Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Melchizedek Chronicles. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about a rumor, if you will, that's going on around the internet right now. It's been everywhere. You know, it's kind of like old Johnny Cash's song, "I've been everywhere, man." Well, this rumor's been everywhere, man. And you may have heard it and not known what it was, but it is supposed to be coming up in this year, and I'll give you the date and everything here in that a minute. According to NASA, they allegedly had a document that got leaked onto the internet, and this document talks about this big budget they have for this upcoming event. They named this event Project Anchor, and what they're claiming is that the Earth is going to lose gravity for 7 seconds. Okay. There's a whole lot of problems with this, of course, which we can cover that, but it's all over the place. So let me find the article here. This is just one of the many, but this'll break it down here for you. Let me read this to you here. As reported, a TikToker and Instagram user whose account is no longer available claims that on August 12th, 2026, the world will lose gravity for 7 seconds. NASA knows this, and they're preparing for it, but they won't tell us why. Let's see here. A leaked NASA document called Project Anchor reportedly leaked in November of 2024, and it came with an $89 billion budget. The expected falling casualties, because people are going to rise up and fall, right? The expected falling casualties are in the 40 to 60 million person range. It says, which is actually massively low considering the number of people that are outdoors at any given moment all over the world. So, in August 12th, 2026, according to this, is a very nice choice when it comes to making an end-of-the-world conspiracy theory, as it's the date of this year's total solar eclipse, which will be seen from the Arctic to Spain. So we're going to have a solar eclipse. That is supposedly going to happen. They've got that, you can look that up. August 12th, 2026 is going to be a total solar eclipse. Now, according to this article, NASA claims we're going to lose gravity for 7 seconds. Let's see. So according to that, we have 7 seconds of no gravity. People, animals, and anything not locked down will start floating. Okay. They're going to start floating in the first 2 seconds. Then they'll continue to rise during the next 3 or 4 second interval, reaching a height of 49 to 65 feet in the air. This is if you're standing outside, I guess. So, you're going to float up pretty high, and then all of a sudden this 7 seconds will be over, and if you're 60 feet in the air, you're just going to drop. So that's where they get these 60 million casualties. So, if you're in your house, you just float up to the ceiling, right? You wouldn't go very high. This thing here says, now the first law of the first law of dynamics shows that a body at rest will remain at rest unless an outside force acts upon it. And a body in motion will stay in motion, basically. It says, and a body in motion at a constant velocity will remain in motion in a straight line unless acted upon by an outside force. Well, according to this, under gravity, you have an equal and opposite reaction pushing off the floor with gravity magically gone. So that reaction will push you off, but it'll be small unless you jump at the right time. You're not going to get to 20 meters up in the air. You know, the problem with that statement right there is supposedly the earth, according to them, is in motion. And it's supposedly spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. So, you know, the only thing, according to the pseudoscience, that's holding you on this spinning water ball in outer space is gravity. So if you were to lose gravity, the oceans and everything would just, I mean, it wouldn't slowly go out like they're claiming to claim here. It would just fling off because the earth is traveling at 1,000 miles an hour in a circle. And it's also spinning like this around the sun, according to the fake fork-tongued demons and liars, at 66,600 miles an hour. So you're not at rest. So when they're like, well, an object at rest will stay at rest. So if we lost gravity, you know, you wouldn't just go up unless you jumped. Well, you're not at rest. That's how dumb these people are. So that they give you a fake something that's going to happen to scare you. And then they tell you, well, you know, since you're at rest, let's say you were just sitting outside, you wouldn't just hurl up into the air because you're not moving. You'd have to jump. Then you'd go up really high, then fall back down. But they don't even know their own model. You know, they don't know that we're supposed to be spinning. And the only thing holding us together is gravity. You know, a magical, mystical force that can't be proven. Right. Well, let's see what else. Do we have anything to say here? Let me move this over for a second. So, what will cause this momentary blip in gravity, you ask? Well, the intersection of two gravitational waves from black holes predicted in 2019 with a probability of 94.7%, according to NASA. Okay. NASA has known about this for 5 years. And, you know, they figured all this stuff out. Well, as a news break, in case you don't know, there's nothing to worry about because there's no such thing as gravity. There will be no loss of gravity because there is no gravity. It's just that simple. Everything is held down, if you will, on Earth by its weight, by density and buoyancy. So if you're in the medium here of the air, it goes by density. So if you're less dense than air, it floats. If it's heavier than air, it sets right here on the ground. Just that simple. But, you know, we're telling you the truth here. So I can't tell you the ridiculous fable that we're spinning around in outer space on a water ball. And the people on Australia are upside down right now compared to us. But they don't know it because of gravity. So, you know, it's absolutely ludicrous. But see, the thing is they stick something like this out. Here's what I think is going on. What they're claiming is that this was leaked, is a leaked document. These certain accounts leaked it, and it's went viral. Those accounts now are all shut down. So nobody can go back and see the original type deal. I think NASA probably did leak something like that. They're saying, oh, it's a hoax, blah, blah, blah. Well, is it? This makes more sense to me. Let me tell you my theory on this. So what we have is a lunar eclipse coming up, a total lunar eclipse. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is you can see a lot of things that are very odd during these lunar eclipses, things that aren't supposed to be there. So you have a satanic government like ours, and you have a satanic institution like NASA, which does Satan's bidding. All they are liars and deceivers. Of course, isn't it funny that their name translates back to Hebrew as deceivers or something like that, to deceive. So they're correctly named. So they're liars, they're devils, they're deceivers. They want you to believe in evolution. They want you to believe in the Big Bang. They want you to believe that you're out here on a water ball in outer space, hurling through the solar systems, hurling through the Milky Way, galaxies. That's what they want you to believe. The problem is, of course, they want you to believe that the sun goes around the moon and all the mumbo jumbo, or the earth goes around the sun, and the moon's caught in between. I mean, all kinds of ridiculous junk. The problem is on these full eclipses, you can go out and look up and see things that aren't supposed to be there. So what's the alternative? Well, they're like, well, let's see. We don't want really anybody looking up asking too many questions, because you might see the other, you start looking and you see the moon covered up, or it's dark, but then you see a whole bunch of other ones, like 7 or 8 other ones, and they're like, what is all that? Well, according to what I believe, you've got different layers in this firmament, and so you're seeing a reflection of these different things, and you can see them from you can see them. But they don't want you to go out and see that. So if you do go outside and try to look up, they want you to put on really dark glasses that blocks it out. So they don't want you seeing what's up there, because it's going to go against what they're trying to teach you. So then if you were to actually have a brain in your head and you walk up and look and you say, well, wait a second, that's not supposed to be there. Neither is that, and that. How is this possible? Then you might start realizing there is a reflection. Well, what could it be reflecting off of? Well, it's reflecting off of the firmament. But they don't want you to believe there's a firmament, even though the Bible clearly tells you there is. So they don't want you to believe any of that. So don't look up. So what's another way they can keep you inside, not looking up on that very day? Well, put out a big rumor and a fake budget that we're going to lose gravity that day. And you don't dare be caught outside, because if you are, you could somehow be sucked into outer space. See? Or you could go way up in the air, 60, 70 feet, and fall back down to your death. So all they have to do is get it out there on these right channels on social media, which is what they did. And somehow these channels always are broadcast everywhere. For example, I talk about this now. There may only be a few thousand people hear it or see it. But somehow these places, these channels, different whatever, on TikTok or Instagram, somehow they're nobodies. They type it in and it goes worldwide in 10 minutes. Well, understand there are people who run these social media platforms. They can push out anything they want to push out, and they don't push out what they don't want to push out. That's called, you get banned, you get shadow banned, the whole 9 yards. So let's just hypothetically say somebody running the show that's running Instagram, running TikTok and others, they want this disinformation out there as fast as possible. So they have one of their own accounts type it out, and then it's sent out to everybody. Everybody sees it, whether you want to see it or not, because they have control over that. So if you log on, you see it. Doesn't matter if you're following them. Doesn't matter if you've ever heard of them. Doesn't matter if they've got one follower. Doesn't make any difference. You see it. So now you're thinking about it. And so they blanket everything with this rumor, and then the account that sent it out, they shut that dude off and it disappears, and there's no proof it ever existed. But see, now we have the rumor out there. We have everybody talking about it. We have podcasts about it. I've already seen 2 podcasts on it already. They're all talking about, and of course, they're thinking it could really happen. So you better stay inside. But see, we know it's not going to happen because we know there's no such thing as gravity. And of course, NASA knows that too. But again, they're liars. So I think they put it out there. It was pushed out by their own people through the government, through their own social media platforms. That's who's running it. And then they hurried and shut it down so you can't ever really trace it back. But it's out there now. And that gets people thinking that it could be true, and it wants them to stay inside. But see, they're not going to come out and say it on the news, and NASA themselves are not going to come out and say it like on a website, because when it doesn't happen, they'll be made to be fools. So they're like, well, no, we didn't say that. Now, it could have been leaked, but we didn't say it. You didn't hear that on CBS, did you? Oh, no, you heard that on a podcast. Well, can you believe everything you hear on a podcast? So, here we are. The rumor's out there. You can find all about it. It's called Project Anchor. And, of course, I don't know if this particular one tells us the times here. There are times that this stuff is supposed to happen, and it's something like whatever time, 33 minutes. So everything's a 33. So, of course, it's your same stuff. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see. On this, I've got another article pulled up here. And this is just an example. It talks about, it's on Economic Times and End Times, or India Times, Economic Times, something like that. Gravity is the force that keeps the Earth stable and supports life. It holds the atmosphere, oceans, land, and all living things to the planet. Without gravity, air and water would drift off into outer space, and life would not survive. So, a viral social media claim has raised concern by saying that the Earth will lose gravity for 7 seconds in 2026. The claim also says that NASA knows about this because they're the ones that come up with it, and they're secretly working on a project called Project Anchor, and it's spread wildly online, causing confusion, fear, and debate about science, secrecy, and space research. Well, this is another way for them to say, not only do I believe they put the rumor out, like I said, they don't want you looking up, so they want you inside. But it's another way to say, see, gravity's real. To keep this whole globe thing going. Like it says, gravity is the force that keeps Earth stable. No, it's not. That's a fake lie. It holds the atmosphere. You're telling me that gravity holds a gas down too? Wow. What a magical force. It also holds oceans, land, and all living beings on the planet. Wow. That you've got to have one heck of an imagination to believe that. Don't you? Yeah, and of course, here's the stupid part, that they don't even know their own science. Without gravity, air and water would simply drift into space. Drift? You're on a water ball spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And it's 66,600 miles an hour. What do you mean drift? It would sling you like a slingshot off. You wouldn't drift anywhere. But then again, it's pseudoscience to begin with, so what you expect any truth out of this? So, like I'm saying, it's one thing after another with these guys. If you ask me, it's grasping at straws. It's just a way to constantly put out fake. Constantly. So here we have it again. Now we're going to lose gravity. So, it's fake. There is no gravity. See, that's the other thing about people who understand the place where we live, underneath a firmament, just like the Bible says. You don't have to worry about any of this mumbo jumbo. You know that when NASA or any of these other people come out with these fake, ridiculous claims of sunspots, moonbeams, black holes, spaceships coming from outer space, meteorites are going to blow the world up, just on and on. It's all fake propaganda to keep you scared. That's what it is. But when you know the truth, when you know that there is a firmament and there's nothing getting through it, you don't have to worry about anything. You know everything they say is fake, so you can go to sleep at night, knowing that all this stuff is fake propaganda. It's Hollywood. But that's what they teach. They teach this in all the government schools. This is the government religion right here. The state-sponsored religion is evolution, is Big Bang. So they claim all this stuff is true. But see, it's another way to put stuff out there. So even if you don't think gravity is going to leave for 7 seconds, let's say you're like, I just don't believe that's going to happen. And that's what these articles will say. Oh, that's ridiculous. Gravity's like, it's like a propaganda piece inside another propaganda piece. Yes, it's a lie, obviously, that we're not going to lose gravity, but if you get you talking about that, they still get you believing in gravity. So they'll say, well, there's no way gravity could, we could lose gravity for 7 seconds, yada, 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 yada. And so then they get you convinced that there's gravity. So even if you don't believe there's going to be a loss in gravity, you end up still believing in gravity. You see? And gravity is as big as a hoax as this other deal. It's all just fake, made-up lies. It's a theory that they can't even prove. So it's like lies built upon lies to get you still to believe in a lie, instead of just stripping it all away and saying, well, I know nothing that you say is true. Everything that comes out of your mouth is a lie. I mean, NASA is a satanic deal. Satan is the father of lies. So how could you look let's say you could have a conversation with Satan. Could you believe anything he said? He's the father of lies. He's going to lie all the time. Or he'll tell you a lie to get you to believe another lie. It's the same thing as I watched a funny thing happened on the way to the moon about these astronauts. And supposedly they're claiming they're halfway to the moon. And so they show you a picture of a porthole on this spaceship. And, they're faking it, claiming that that's the Earth way off in the distance. But really, it's just a porthole, and they're looking at the Earth, and they're pretending. And so this document, this video, supposedly accidentally got released. You see? So it accidentally got released. Nobody was supposed to see it. It even says it on the very first page. Not for not for whatever. No person's supposed to see this. Not for whatever. Why they'd put that on the front of a video, I don't know. But that's what it says. And so then you watch the video, and you're like, see, I knew it. They faked the mission to the moon. They were, they weren't halfway there, and yada, yada, yada. And they've got this picture, and they've got a picture of the Earth and all this stuff. See? So you may not believe they went to the moon off the deal, but you believe that they really were in space, see? They're really way far out, and they're showing you the Earth through a porthole on a spaceship. So you may not believe the moon landing, but because of the video, you believe that they were somewhere in outer space and they were faking it, see? But there is no space. Do you see what I'm saying? So they get you half of it done, claiming, oh, we caught you. Oh, look, you caught us. You found our secret video we made where it shows us, way out in outer space taking a picture of Earth, but we claimed we were almost to the moon. Oh, you caught us. And so you believe it. Oh, yeah, they probably faked it. Wait a second, hold on. There is no outer space, so where are you taking that picture? Oh, well, we were in outer space. We just weren't quite to the moon. No, you weren't. Because there is no outer space. So everything was fake, including the video, including you being in a spaceship What spaceship? You weren't in outer space to begin with. You were in a Hollywood set somewhere, a fake spaceship. And then you produced a fake video to go along with it. Of course, the video makes it look like you're really in outer space. You just faked the moon landing. So then people can get bought in and say, oh, yeah, well, I don't really, I've heard this before. I've heard this 100 times. Well, of course, I don't believe we went to the moon. That's all fake. They faked it. You can even see the videos where they faked it. Okay. Well, do you know how you can also prove they faked it? How? Because you can't get to the moon. It's in the firmament. What? There is no outer space. What? See, they still believe in outer space. They still believe you can hop on the Starship Enterprise and boldly go where no man has gone before. They still believe that. But they don't believe we went to the moon. Clearly, it's been debunked. I mean, any fool can see that. But you have to peel back another layer, you see. The Bart Sabrell deal where he says nobody went to the moon, it's true. But he still thinks you can go out in outer space. He still thinks you can be a rocket man, but you can't. So he's almost there, but not quite. Doesn't believe we went to the moon, but still believes in the Big Bang space lie. You see? And that's what things like this little rumor does. It gets you thinking, oh, they're probably lying about this. But if it's true, maybe we should stay inside. Maybe we should skip looking at the lunar eclipse this year. Well, maybe they want you to not look at the lunar eclipse for some reason. A lot of things are seen, like I said, that aren't supposed to be seen. People take videos of it and then go back later and start looking and saying, explain these anomalies. Shut up. Nobody wants to explain them. You shouldn't have been outside anyway. You should have been in your house in case gravity disappeared. You see? Or if you went outside and filming, why did you do that? You could have burned your eyeballs out. Don't you know your eyeballs will get burned out? You can't look up at anything because your eyes will fry. So go back inside in case gravity disappears. And if you do come outside, you put on these special glasses that blacks out everything so you can't see nothing anyway. Don't you come outside without your special government glasses on that blocks everything out. Makes sense, right? Do what you're told. Put your glasses on. Better yet, don't even go outside because you might float into outer space. Seriously? But there are going to be people that believe this. They are talking about it because they believe in space. They believe in the Big Bang. They believe the whole thing. So now they may be iffy if gravity's really going to disappear, but, they're not sure. So they were going to stay inside. And, of course, they believe gravity exists. So it's a scam, folks. It's a scam. It's a hoax, just like the fake climate change that everybody talks about. I saw an article on that just the other day. We've got, what was her name, running for president here with Tim, the governor Tim over there in Somalia that's nothing but a forked-tongued liar, forked-tongued devil liar with all of his illegals over there and everything he's doing, all the money laundering. Well, when he was going to be vice president, with Kamala, all she can talk about is climate change and oceans rising. That's a big one with your fake lunatic left and your demons. The oceans rising. All of the beaches are going to be wiped out and the ocean's going to rise up and kill you. So you and me, don't you dare run your your gas-powered natural gas stove or propane stove. Don't you run a gasoline engine. Don't you dare. Don't you drive around in a diesel pickup. You're attributing to this stuff right here. And it's happening and it's unchangeable. We can't get away from it. She's one of them, Kamala. She didn't push, I guess she did push the Green New Deal, but AOC came up with it, another devil and a liar. Well, she didn't come up with nothing. She's a retarded bartender. Not that bartenders are retarded, but that's what she was a bartender. And somehow she got straight into Congress as being a bartender. Now, You're not going to ever see that any other place. She's basically a slobbering retard. But she's the perfect candidate to stick up to there because she's controllable. They just keep on dishing out a little bit of money, and she says whatever they say. So she didn't come up with it, but she's pushing this Green New Deal. She's not smart enough to come up with a Green New Deal. She probably couldn't identify the color green if it was right here. So Kamala was in on it too. Green New Deal, climate change, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what she did the other day? She just bought a brand new $8 million mansion right on the beach. Imagine that. Another climate change person who says the oceans are rising and you need to get away. Don't you dare get on a beach because the oceans are rising. Don't you know in a couple of months or a couple of years, everything's going to blah, 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 blah. The whole panic and trying to get people scared. The only people that believes it are brain dead lunatics. But there's plenty of them out there. So scare everybody away from their houses, see, that don't have a brain, and then you go in and buy them. And so now she's got her a new $8 million mansion on the beach. Imagine that. I mean, if you really believed that there was climate change, like they're saying, and the oceans are rising, and the beaches are all going to be wiped out, why would you drop $8 million on a house on the beach? Huh. Wow. Doesn't sound like you believe what you're saying. Duh. Okay, if you haven't figured this out yet, these politicians are liars. They're devils. They're liars. All of them. Everything they tell you is probably a lie. Anything that the news, the television, tell you a vision, Hollywood or Hellywood, all of these are pedophiles, and they're all in on something. Either pedophilia, they all worship the devil, they're all being controlled by the devil. So if they collectively get together and tell you you need to do something, you need to do the opposite. So when they tell you, get away from the beach, the oceans are rising and you might die, that's because they want to go on the beach, but they don't want you there. They don't want you to have a house on the beach so they can have a house on the beach. They don't want you to live in Hawaii so they can live in Hawaii. You understand that, right? That these weather things and these fire things that keep happening, and everybody's shooed away, and if you have a house, it's burned to the ground or whatever, and then you're not allowed to come back and do anything with it, so you've got to give it away or whatever. They come take it, for all in the name of climate change. Climate change always makes this stuff happen, but then they come in and they build a mansion right there where your house was or whatever. I mean, people actually still believe this stuff. I mean, they're all lefties, majority of them. But it's like, take a look around. What's this one? I saw a deal the other day. I think it was Taylor Swift. She's big into the climate change. How dare you drive your truck around town? Go get an electric vehicle. You're running the world. You're running the planet. And then it shows somebody puts up there a deal of all her flying around in a private jet, just back and forth, all over the United States. Looks like a spider web. She's not concerned about climate change, okay? Do you understand that? If she tells you she thinks the climate's changing, she either doesn't know, she probably doesn't care, but either way, she's a devil and a liar. She's getting paid to say it. The people that are saying it are doing more than me and you will ever do in a lifetime. They're running around on private jets, on private yachts, mansions all over the place with electric bills that are more than some people make in a whole entire year, and their electric bills that per month. But they will sit here and tell you you can't go to the beach because the ocean's rising. But they can have 10 mansions on the beach. They are liars. They are devils. Okay. You need to understand that. All this stuff that you see on the television about climate, about outer space, most of the stuff going on in the news, there's a high percentage of it that's fake. I mean, do you really believe everything that you see on the television? Tell you a vision. Do you really believe it? I mean, you think it's real, right? You know, like we've got the shooting the other day. You know, a lady gets in her car, and there's another lady there, and, you know, they're lesbians, supposedly married. Come to find out they're not married. Whoop-de-doo. And drive, baby, drive. I'm sure you've heard it. And so she takes off and hits an ICE agent, and he unalives her. So they're saying it's murder, it's this, it's that. But there's a video, you know, where it's been panning around where I guess he's filming it with his cell phone, and he's filming it before he gets hit, and he films her, and then he films the girlfriend, you know, saying, drive, baby, drive. And she's got a phone in her hand, and it pans around. Well, somebody actually stopped that video and started looking what's in the background. Well, I need to get a copy of it to show it to you. But a lot of people are listening to this audio. So you take the video and you stop it where it's being panned around and start looking at the stuff in the background. There's a dinosaur in the background. I'm not kidding. There's a dinosaur standing on a smashed car in the background. There's a person with a dog in the background, but the dog has no features. It's completely featureless. It just looks like an outline. Stuff like that. So it's like, wait a second. Stop for a second. See, nobody ever stops the video and just pauses it and says, let's go frame by frame and see what's in this video. They just see a video going like this, you know, a camera, and they're like, oh, well, they just filmed it. And they're saying, oh, well, he was filming that on his cell phone. Of course, his body cam supposedly filmed some other stuff. So he was filming this when he got hit. And then you look at the video, and there's a dinosaur in the background. And I'm not talking about one of the air-up dinosaurs like you see the people running around on these. No. A full-blown dinosaur in the background next to a home. I am serious. Do you think anybody's going to mention the fact that there's a dinosaur in the video? So, is the video real? They're claiming it's real. This is the video he took. The DA said the ICE agent took right before he got hit. It's real. But then if you slow the thing down and start looking, there's a dinosaur in the film. So is it really real? Or is it made up? You know, it's just like the Charlie Kirk videos that came out. This is a video angle. Look, it's horrible. Really, this happened. And then it shows a chair fall through a table. You can see it. Everybody can see it. But nobody wants to talk about the chair that went magically through the table. Well, see, how does that happen? It doesn't happen in real life, does it? So what does that mean? What are you looking at exactly? Is it an AI video? Something has been doctored because a chair falls through a table before it hits the ground. Just like this video pans around and there's a dinosaur in the background. And I'm being dead serious here. But these videos are just kind of briefly shown, and people are like, oh, look, it's real. It really happened. I saw the video. Really? Why is there a dinosaur in the video? Why are tables falling or chairs falling through tables in the video? Why are these videos not adding up? Hey, don't ask too many questions. I saw it on the television. Tell you a vision. Must be real. Maybe it's another something to cause division, to cause fights, to cause problems. See, they want to keep everybody divided. If everybody actually came together, knew what was going on, a lot of these hoaxes couldn't be perpetuated any longer. But see, if you keep darker melanated Americans fighting with lighter melanated Americans, fighting with these other whatever Americans constantly, and you're too busy fighting each other to see who's instigating the fights If everybody realized who was instigating all this stuff and came together, they would turn and look and see who their oppressors actually are. And then this stuff wouldn't be able to go on like it is. However, I digress on that because people are going to believe what they see on TV. They see it on X. Must be real, right? So just believe it. Just believe it. Well, on this channel here, we question things a little too much. We don't just believe everything we're told. And the funny thing is like I've said 100 times, I listen to these different Christian radio stations and stuff. They're going on about 9/11 and all these others. They have all this stuff they talk about, and they all believe it's true. Whatever the government narrative is, it's true. So they're still talking about it as if all of it really happened exactly the way you saw it on Cartoon Network. Keep that in mind. They don't have enough discernment to see that they're being lied to. They're being deceived. They just don't get it. They don't understand that Satan is running this world that we live in. He is the prince of the power of the air. He controls the airwaves and everything you see and hear on it. He controls it. He's running the governments. He controls them. It's just that simple. Kind of like, we went over to Venezuela the other day and arrested somebody, kidnapped them, whatever you want to call it, because of drugs. You believe that? I mean, the reports I saw is there's hardly any drugs that even come out of there. It's too far to get anywhere. They're not even running drugs out of there. And if they are, it's very, very, very little. Very little. But do you know what one of the biggies are over there? Think about this. The guy, Maduro, he banned transgenderism. It's banned. Can't do it. He's banned same-sex marriage. It's illegal. He's actually banned usury. Now, usury is a King James Bible term for interest. So here in America, you can go swipe a credit card that might have 30 or 40% interest on it that you have to pay. So in other words, you swipe a credit card for $100 and make the minimum payments, you may never get it paid off. You may pay thousands of dollars back for $100. See, he banned that. No, you're not doing it. Here, you can be same-sex and get married and do whatever. Over there, he said, no, we're not doing that. Over here, you can be a man and you can dress up like a woman and claim you're a woman and go to a woman's prison. You can go into a little girl's bathroom, even though you're a sick pervert. You don't really believe you're a woman. Right? You want to go in because you're a pervert. He banned that over there. And rumor has it that he started selling his oil reserves, which are vast oil reserves over there, to Russia and to China, and he's accepting currency other than the dollar. Uh-oh. You don't do any of that. See, because to keep the fake dollar propped up, everybody has to pay for oil in dollars. That's called the petrodollar. You should look that up. Well, he was going to accept money for oil outside of the dollar. So guess what? He got picked up by helicopter the other day. Not to mention he wanted a bunch of stuff banned. So it's just kind of weird, isn't it? So you might just think about that stuff before you just believe everything you hear and see on the Tell You a Vision. That's my advice to you. My other advice to you is, things are progressing, let's just say. If I had to wager, I would say we are months, days, maybe years away from an end time event. So the only thing that's going to save you from that is if you're saved. So if I were you, I would set your pride aside. You're going to have to get rid of that pride. Set that pride aside, and you need to ask Jesus Christ to save you while you can, before it's too late. It's like I said before, it's a free gift. Accept it. Go ask for it, get your grace, and go on. But I understand. It's hard for some people to set that pride aside. Of course, I know a lot of people that are very prideful, and they don't want to admit they're wrong. They don't want to admit they're a sinner. They don't want to admit they need any help. So, it's kind of like the first thing you've got to do is admit you're a sinner. If you can't admit you're a sinner, then I guess you don't need any help. So, I would do that before it's too late. I would think about that. If you have any questions, you can always email me. But it's pretty simple. You can find out how to get saved anywhere, just about any time, any place. Doesn't have to be in a church building. Doesn't have to be by a father or a minister or anything like that. Strictly between you and God. On your couch, in your car, in your office, whatever. Doesn't make any difference. So get saved while you can. And once you get saved, and the Holy Spirit starts, moves into you and starts correcting you and helping you get on the right track, then listen to the Holy Spirit and do the right things. Don't be a liar and a cheater and a thief and everything else. Just don't do it. Do the right thing. Have some morals. Anyway, having said all that, I guess I'll let you go. I guess that'll be it. It's 47 minutes. I'm going to get off of here. I've got some other podcasts I want to talk about. This one came up first. I've got some others. Anyway, thanks for listening. Let's see here. Let me just remind you of this stuff here. I've got, what is that right there? Oh, that's TikTok. Remember, I'm on TikTok now, if you want to go check that out. Flat Earth Bible on Amazon. Melchizedek Chronicles by Dr. Kenny Williamson on Spotify and all other podcast platforms. On YouTube, Melchizedek Chronicles by Kenny Williamson. And, of course, also on Rumble, Kenny Williamson Official. So check that stuff out if you're interested. Whatever. Drop me a line, truthseekers2012@gmail.com. Or you can also check out It's Flat Bro or truthseekersministry.org. Check those out. Hit me up. Thanks for listening. I guess until we meet again, God bless you.